I tell you this not through gloating, but through expression of experience as opposed to theory. But I have manifested many specific people in my time. From the relationship that I'm in now, which many of you follow me because of, but also previous people that when we last spoke showed nothing but hatred, or when we were last communicating, it kind of just died out, to them showing up, declaring love, declaring a desire to meet, declaring some kind of interest in me. But on the flip side of my many successes with specific people, earlier in my journey, I did have many failures. Failures not because it wasn't possible, but failures because I was the one screwing up, and I can see where and why. So I'm going to be taking those successes and those failures and the things that I learned from them, as well as what I've learned from working with other people, and giving you an explanation behind why your specific person may not be showing up yet and what you can do about it. Because there's no point watching these videos just to go, haha, Nina, you don't have your person. I need to actually explain how we can change that. And that's what this is today. So when you end up enjoying this video, drop me a like and a comment to let me know. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you'd like to be part of an elite group of people manifesting their best desires, I do have my academy available, which is linked down below. But without further ado, let's just dive in. Why your SP hasn't shown up yet. Because that is the key part. It is always a yet with manifestation. Even the failures that I spoke about are still technically yets. Because if from this moment forward, I decided to put in the work properly, they would still come back. It is never a, they haven't shown up, full stop. It's always, and keep this in mind, it is always a, they haven't shown up yet. Because everything is still possible, because at any moment you can change consciousness, which means at any moment you can get what you want. But let me stop being kind of pedantic and actually help you with what you're struggling with. I'm going to go out on the basis that for the vast majority of you, it isn't a routine issue. There may be some people that have affirmation issue or like technique issue, which I will explain. But let me explain this, and I kind of touched on this on Monday's video. You've manifested things. Unless you're brand new to the process, like this is your first video you've ever watched, you've manifested things that you can say was only a handful of thoughts. A phone call from a family member that you just thought of, a song on the radio that you just thought of and it played 10 minutes later, compliment from the stranger, anything. You thought of something, and within a handful of thoughts or a handful of affirmations, it happened. Even if it wasn't consciously, say you are the newbie to manifestation, if you're to look back over your entire life, you would have had experiences that you could call on. Maybe not directly to memory, but if you sit and think hard enough, where that kind of thing has happened. Now, why am I bringing that point up? Because it shows that it isn't a routine basis. If we can manifest things like that with a handful of thoughts, clearly we don't need the routine. Clearly the routine is just a beneficial aid if you're struggling with structure and ensuring that you're doing more good than you are bad. But the idea that a routine is needed in order to succeed is a negligible thought, because it isn't needed. It's beneficial, but it isn't needed. You can manifest, and I know this may sound crazy, but you can manifest your person by just affirming it 2 or 3 times. If the negative side of things is lower than the amount of affirmations you are doing. So I will obviously give you a routine as well, because I'm not just going to say you don't need one and expect you to just be like, oh, okay. I will give you one at the end of the video or sort of somewhere in this video. But just to accentuate my point, it is not likely that it's your routine that is a struggle in and of itself. It's more so the case that you need a better handle of the opposition because of what I've just explained. If you only need a handful of thoughts to manifest something, and the only reason things are taking longer is because of the amount of negative, it would stand to reason that bringing the negative down would be just as successful as upping the work, but it would mean that you are then having less negative go on, which is a positive in and of itself, and you don't have so much negative and then so much work leading to some chaotic equilibrium within your own mind. We want you to be as natural and neutral as possible, so those few thoughts can really accentuate and take over. Which is why I will still give you the routine, but I don't think it's the routine that's the problem. But I did mention affirmations and such, so I'll just kind of touch on that now. Oh, that is terrible, Ryan. 7 out of every 10 clients that I get have affirmations that are perfectly fine. Every now and then, 3 out of the 10 times, I will get some people with affirmations that just don't really fit the bill. Nothing inherently bad, but if you're manifesting a relationship, their only affirmations are focused on contact, for example. Or if they're manifesting removing the third party, their only affirmations are that of third party doesn't exist anymore, and things like that. There's a better way to do your techniques if those are the kind of situations. So to avoid spending too much time on this point, because I don't think it really needs that much explanation, what we just want to focus on is the end result that exists where you have what you want. I.e., if you want contact so it can lead on to a relationship, just go to the relationship. Because by doing so, you're feeding your subconscious mind the story that you're in a relationship, and whatever needs to happen to get from where you are to that point, the subconscious mind has free reign to work out. Because if you then get the text, you then have to focus on the relationship anyway. Otherwise, you'll just get yourself stuck in a loop of just constant communication, which I know for many of you would be nice. But once you get it, you'll then want more, and then you'll have to go on to the end result anyway, or at least have some kind of positive internalized stories that would lead you in that direction. So you may as well just go to the end result now. And utilizing the third party example, there's no point affirming away a third party if, when in a monogamous relationship with your person, that third party by extension wouldn't exist. Now, in order for you to get to that monogamous relationship, your subconscious mind would have to remove the third party so you can have what you're claiming to have. I.e., don't bother affirming there is no third party, just affirm I am in a committed monogamous relationship with a specific person. Because that implies the same thing, except for the relationship one actually states you have what you want. Whereas if the third party gets removed, that doesn't say that you're with your person, meaning you still have to then go on to being in a relationship with your person through consciousness anyway. So you may as well just skip all the middleman, skip the micromanaging, skip the anxious manifestation, and just go to a blissful end result. But that's kind of like something that I wanted to point out. For those 3 out of 10 people, the reason why you may not have your person yet is because your affirmations or your techniques aren't actually even saying that you have your person. If you make that adjustment, that may be all that you need to succeed. But for the rest of people that actually have a solid routine, a solid set of techniques, what's going on? Well, as much as I know people don't like to hear this, I don't even like to admit it to myself sometimes when I'm sitting there thinking, what could I do better? You need a better handle on the negative. Like I said with my little routines explanation, if we can manifest something with a handful of thoughts, and everybody in this community, be it me, Sammy, Neville Goddard, Joseph Murphy, and so on, just any big name that you have probably seen from time to time, if they all agree that the subconscious mind, one thing is as easy as everything else to manifest, then if you can manifest your mum calling you with 5 thoughts, you can manifest your relationship with only 5 thoughts. I know you're probably sitting there wanting to punch me in the head going, well, I've been doing this for months. That's clearly not true. But the reason why it wouldn't have been true for you yet is because those 5 thoughts have no contrary story to them. You can't manifest a relationship in 5 thoughts if you're having 5 or more negative thoughts about the thing existing, because then your subconscious mind will then be pointed more towards the state of it not existing, because that's your dominant state. So because you can manifest something with such minimal amount of thoughts, we could, like I said, up the routine and make it so you're doing 4 hours worth of affirmations a day just to counter the negative, which would work, but who on earth wants to do that? Or we could bring this negative down so that you then have less negative going on, which means less positive necessary. Remember that necessary element from Monday's video with the persisting. Less positive is necessary to be able to manifest. Let me give you a little visual diagram up here real quick. Let's take the miscellaneous desire. You got your balance and scale. I know it's going to be small. I just don't have a lot of room, but I will explain it. You've got 5 thoughts, 5 positive thoughts going on with your miscellaneous thing, your mum calling you, and none, which means that weight is going to be all the way down because there's no contrary thoughts. with what you want, so desire, you got your balancing scale. You may do 1,000 affirmations, for example, in your current routine, but if you're having 2,000 negative thoughts, it doesn't need to be that many, 1,100 negative thoughts or more, for example, then it's still going to be weighed towards you not having. Now, you could up this so that it now reaches 2,000, but that means you'd have to double the work that you're doing, which sounds fucking exhausting, to be honest. When you mix it with like going to work and being a parent for some of us and things like that, I don't want to be affirming 1,000 more times. I don't even want to do the amount of affirming I'm doing now, let alone doubling it. Or we could bring the negative down so it equals the 1,000, by which point it would just be kind of 50-50. We'd obviously want it less than that. But by bringing the negative down, you'll have less stresses going on, which would actually compound, because the less you're stressed, the more you control, which, and this is just for example purposes of trying to help my point. Please don't take this to be literal numbers. But if you're less stressed, you're more in control, which would almost inadvertently take that 1,000 affirmations and turn it into 1,500. Because by being less stressed, you're going to have more control, you're going to be more regulated, you're going to have a better state, which means the affirmations you're doing are going to be implanted and impressed much easier. Hopefully that makes sense. So because of the fact that we can manifest anything with very few thoughts, it's just the amount of contradicting story that we have coming up that we're dwelling in. It's not your routine that's the problem. For some of you, it may be the types of techniques that you're doing, but for the most of you, it isn't. It's just simply that you need a better handle of the negative. And here we have a little cycle. What's happening is you're doing your affirming, but then outside of your affirming, you've got all of these anxieties, doubts, fears, negative thoughts. Some of you worse than others. I know there's definitely a couple of you watching this video going, I don't have many negative thoughts and such, and that's fine. There will still be too many going on. If you could rein it in, that would be even better. You don't need to be perfect, just better than yesterday. I speak in the way that I do to accentuate the importance of this work. But in reality, I think most of you could actually just do with 20 thoughts less negative and you'll be all good. But to each, you're going to have to take a personal inventory. I'm speaking to like 22,000 people right now that are subscribed to me. So obviously everyone's going to be on different ends of that spectrum. But you're doing your affirmations or your techniques, and then outside of that, there's anxieties, there's doubts, there's low self-concept, there's concerns, there's things in the way that are tipping your balancing scale against you. Cycles break when you break them. You need to be interrupting that pattern with something more favorable. And the little diagram that I like to give, and I gave this on Monday's one, is, say you've got a little road here, a little fork in the road. At this point here, something has come up. That negative has come up, whether it's a thought, whether it's a feeling, whether it's a something happened in the 3D reality, whether it's you slept bad, so you're just more anxious than usual. Doesn't matter what it is. You are plodding along this road. You have been, something has brought up this opportunity to show if you're your new you or your old you. If you want this cycle to continue, then you just go same way in dwelling in that negative. You let it get the best of you. If you want to break this cycle and open up to a new direction where you have what you want, then at this crossroads, you need to then go, okay, my desire is this. The collapse is if I give in to these negative thoughts, feelings, or reactions. What would benefit me? And of course, it would always be the desire. But because of our human ego, many of us can't just go, oh yeah, that's fine. Don't worry about the fact that I've been left on red. Let me just affirm. Some can, but not many of us. So what we need to do in that moment is overcome whatever it is, the thoughts, the feelings, the reactions. Again, everybody has their own way of overcoming them. So I would urge you to sort of play around with what works for you. But for me, breath work is amazing. For me, the why would I care method is amazing. The why would I care method is something that I kind of came up with, where I just sit there and with an attitude like, why do I care? Why would I care that I got another bill? I got loads of money. Why would I care if I get left on red? They're head over heels in love with me anyway. They're probably just busy. And I sort of speak as though I'm like above this thing. Why on earth would I care? And that kind of helps me kind of get into an attitude of like, yeah, this is your only life. You're the only one living it. Why would you care? sort of thing. But anyway, that's besides the point. That's just my little method that I like to use. Adopt it if it sounds good for you, leave it if it doesn't. But in this moment, you need to do something. Breath work, EFT tapping, the why would I care method, listen to some empowering music, thought journaling, anything to get your mind under control and to basically shut the ego up for a minute. Even though the ego is doing what it thinks is best, as far as the bigger picture, as far as the long run, it is not. And then re-enter that state of having what you want. And what that's going to do is it's going to help you disassociate from what you don't want and reassociate with what you do. Now, if we kind of consider, obviously we've got the balancing scale, so I won't do that there, but let's just give like a similar diagram to what I did on Monday. If we do the persisting element, so this one you do a manifestation work, and then I'm just going to put R for responding, just because I didn't do it big enough. Let me write this down. My cat's trying to get out of the room. 1 second. Go on and get though. How you get? Anyway, yeah, so you've got your persistent work. So that's when you do manifestation stuff like your techniques and all that lot proactively. This R here stands for responding. If in that moment, don't let the size of the gaps be pertaining to how long you're doing it for. It's just to fit the word in. But if, say, this was like 10 minutes worth of affirming, but then you had a 20-minute meltdown, and then 10 minutes of this persisting here, and then 10 at the end, that's 30 worth of persisting and 40 worth of meltdowns, for example, which is still technically dominantly in the negative, which is why it's being held at bay. So what you need to do is you need to do your proactive work, because that's going to help you show your subconscious mind proactively, yes, I have what I want. And then during these reactive times, when these crossroads come to mind, you've thought of your desire, you're feeling some kind of way, you've had something present itself in reality that you don't like, you have in that moment a choice. Do you feed the desire, thus aiding this proactive work that you've been doing? My other cat is trying to get out now. 1 second. And then out you go, gato number 2. Go on, I need you to go. Go. Stupid cat. Do you do the work and aid in your positive story, or do you let it all collapse and you give in, you don't do breath work, you don't regulate, and just add weight to the undesired story? Because realistically speaking, for many of us, especially if things are fresh, especially if we've got some really bad things going on, 20 minutes of a meltdown is not unrealistic at all. I know during my sort of like weaker days when I was a lot less mentally like stable, say like prior to Katie and I breaking up, a 20-minute meltdown, that's child's play. That's a cup of coffee in the morning kind of easiness, you know. That was rookie numbers. So it's not a surprise that Katie ended up separating with me. And I think many of you can agree, if we look at it objectively, in the moments where some really bad things have happened or you're getting really anxious about stuff, 20 minutes flies by. You don't even realize how quick that 20 minutes actually goes by, and before you know it, you've completely worked yourself up. But because doing the persisting work maybe isn't as mentally absorbing, it feels like you're doing loads of persisting work because you're bored doing it. And this reactive side goes by like that. You don't realize just how long you're actually panicking for in comparison. A generalization, of course, like I said, you'll have to look into your own journeys to really be able to put these pieces together, or work with me one-on-one. This is why I say, if you want to skip the general stuff, I'm speaking to 22,000 people right now, subscriber wise. I can't really give you direct things for your situation. I just have to hope you take this and run with it, or work with me and we can sort it. If that's the third cat trying to go outside, no, cool, just run inside or in the other room. But if you are allowing these reactive moments to get the better of you, it's not a wonder you don't have what you want. And I say that with love. I say that to try and teach you and explain this so that you can actually see, oh yeah, shit, I do panic a lot. I do get into states of missing a lot. I do get into states of longing a lot. I have missed out on a fair few times meeting my friends and family because I wanted to stay home and manifesting, only to accentuate that I don't have what I want, and so on. So what you need to be doing from now is get your routine up to scratch. just so that you've got structured time there. 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the night, or fall asleep to it at night is ideal, in my opinion, as a starting point. You can add to it if you would like to. You can take away from it if you would like to, your journey. And then whenever you've got some free time, while washing up, while going on a walk, just do some affirmations just to sort of top yourself up. But that's a solid enough routine to get good creative stuff. And then as you go through your day, keep an awareness of yourself. When this crossroad comes up, thoughts come up, feelings come up, reactive possibilities, i.e., something in the 3D reality, comes up that you don't want to experience and you want to change it, regulate yourself. Breath work, EFT tapping, thought journaling, empowering music, calling your friend and just having a giggle, read a book, whatever it is that gets you just chilled out a little bit more, and then reaffirm, revisualize, show your mind that you have what you want. And this will help you disassociate from what you don't want because you're constantly choosing to go down here. Let me actually say that this isn't a road. Let me just to help with accentuating my point. Let's say that this is grass. I'm just going to do that for grass and grass. If you stop walking down this path, that grass will grow up and that will no longer be a path. If you stopped walking through this little grassy patch, trampling it down, making it into a path, eventually that grass will grow back and it will no longer be a path. And what will happen is visually, that's all that would be left, because you would have continuously walked down that path, so much so that this other path doesn't exist anymore. So then you would have turned it into just a slight veering to the right as opposed to a crossroads. And that's when you get your desire, because your subconscious mind no longer has the path internalized saying that you don't have what you want. That's when things come into play. So if you want to manifest your person, anything for that matter, I use person because that's what most people are struggling with, but anything for that matter, get your proactive side right. Get your routine right. 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at the night, and then whenever you've got free time during the day where you're not engaged. If you're at work, be working. If you're with your friends, be with your friends. That is now the third cat trying to get out. Go on then. Just need the fourth one at this point. I was going to cut that out in editing, but I feel like it might be quite amusing to see what I have to deal with. But yeah, like, you know, when you got some spare time, if you're at work, be at work. If you're with your friends, be with your friends. If you're showering, do some affirmations. If you're washing up, do some affirmations. You're not being engaged in that moment, so you might as well make use of it. And that will help you get that proactive side of things, right? And then as you go through your day, if anything opposing comes up, be it thought, feeling, and awareness, that's when you do this stuff. That's when you trample down the desire path and you let the undesired path grow over, because it's no longer the path that you take. And that will help you be positively reactive or responsive, meaning that there will be minimal negative thoughts getting through, which means because you can manifest anything with simple amounts of thoughts, if you have barely any bad thoughts going on, you need barely any good thoughts to create what you want. And that's how you can create things that seem so crazy to you that other people have done, like relationships in a week, or like manifesting millions in a couple of months, for example. If other people have done it, then it's possible for you as well. The only difference is their conscious state when they got it to your conscious state now. If you can match your conscious state, you'll be better than me at this stuff. You'll be able to sit here with your own channel and I'll be going, hey, can you teach me how to manifest? Because you'll clearly be better than I will if you can follow these routines and really put them into practice. Because I'm not special in the slightest as far as this process goes. I don't have some secret technique or some secret pill, or, you know, I'm just a guy that just learned to stop dwelling on things that I don't want and to start dwelling on the things I do. And now I can teach you guys how to do the same. If I can do it, you absolutely can too. But like I said, if you've enjoyed this video, drop me a like and a comment to let me know. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and be sure to click that bell icon if you do need one-to-one help. Maybe you looked at this video and thought, you know what, this is some really good concepts, but I need help to know where I am at specifically. I do have one-to-one services available, or the Elite Academy, where as part of joining, you get some of the one-to-one services anyway, such as email coaching with me, but you also get all of the courses and everything else, the exclusive content, the Elite Manifestor program, and more. So if you do want some help from me, if you want to skip going from coach to coach to coach, trying to piece general video to general video to general video, and stop making some Frankenstein's monster of different creators, different content, and you want to work with someone that's actually going to help you specifically, no scripts, no guidelines, no like sort of tunnel that I'm trying to force you through, helping you with what you need, then I do have things available that are linked down below in the comment section and the description. But for now, me and my cats would like to say thank you for showing up to today's video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.